Coming this fall from SJS Direct, Easting the Sands of Time. It's action, adventure, and romance in ancient Egypt in this fantasy flashback Easting series adventure. Pre-order Easting the Sands of Time today on Amazon.com. The Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences seems to be very desperate to get people to watch their Oscar broadcast because over the last couple of years the ratings for the Oscars has dropped precipitously. And in their new plan to get people to watch the Oscars, they have decided to try to shorten the Oscar broadcast to 3 hours, and they've also decided that they're going to introduce a new award for Best Popular Film. Now, I look at these changes to the Oscars, and I don't see anything that would really get me back interested in watching these award shows anymore. And the reason why I don't want to watch the Oscars anymore is because after I read Sid Field's screenplay, and he clearly stated that these Oscars and these Emmys and all these awards are just popularity contests, I began to see that these awards have no real value. And when it comes down to the Oscars, they haven't given people a real reason to care because many of the films that they nominate for Best Picture are oftentimes these art house films that next to no one watches. So there's no real reason for Joe and Jane Average to get excited about the Oscars because their favorite films never get nominated. And the pitiful attempt to try to give us a Best Popular Film award really also doesn't give you an incentive to go out here to go watch the Oscars because that's like a participation award for a movie. If a film is great, a film should be able to get a Best Picture nomination. This participation trophy Oscar they want to propose in the Best Popular Film Oscar is a slap in the face to most filmgoers. It's not giving us an award for having a film that is quality based on merit. It is basically an award that is just being proposed just to get people to go watch this pretentious Oscar broadcast where these rich celebrities get on stage and use it as a platform or a soapbox to rant about their politics. And that's the other reason why many people are tuning out of the Oscars like myself, is that we are getting tired of having some rich celebrity sitting there and trying to rant at us talking about Donald Trump for 3 hours straight. And that's what annoyed a lot of people about the Oscars, and that's why they turned off the Oscars for the last 2 years and the years before that, because they got tired of these rich celebrities in Hollywood in their fiefdom sitting there talking about politics but living comfortably in their rich enclaves but not understanding the problems of the man on the street. And that's reflected in many of the films that get nominated for these Oscars, because I remember back in the 80s and the 90s when there used to be films that everybody could watch and enjoy, and these films would get nominated for Oscars. I remember when people were rallying behind films like your Titanic or other films like there was a couple of them in the 80s and the 90s that people they really were behind. But these days, when it comes down to the Oscars, these films they're so niche and so obscure that you have no incentive to root behind them. I remember when people were rooting behind Hilary Swank when she had won for Boys Don't Cry and when she won for the Clint Eastwood film Million Dollar Baby. I remember when people were rooting for Denzel Washington in Glory. I remember when people were all behind Quentin Tarantino's Pulp Fiction. But when I look at the films Hollywood produces these days, they don't produce films that really make you want to get behind them. They don't really produce films that excite you. And that's the other big problem that's related to the Oscars. Hollywood these days just makes garbage. And they want people to sit there and watch a 3-hour telecast of rich celebrities making speeches about Donald Trump and rants about Donald Trump, and then they want to tell you about people winning awards for films that no one cares about. As I see it, as related to Hollywood, Hollywood just needs to wake up and see reality, because it's clear to me that Hollywood's big problem with the Oscars relates to Hollywood becoming completely disconnected from America, because Americans don't watch movies from Hollywood anymore, because Hollywood films no longer are telling stories that Americans can relate to, and because Americans can't relate to the movies that Hollywood produces, that's why people aren't going to the movies, and that's why people aren't getting involved in these Oscar races for these actors. That's why no one's watching the Oscars, because the Oscars have become their own world, and Hollywood has become its own world, and it's not related to the average working man on the street. With the average working man and woman on the street working 14-hour days for low pay at maybe one or even two jobs, they have next to no time to sit there and either watch a movie at a theater or go out here and rally behind some millionaire in the hopes of seeing them win a gold statue in a popularity contest. No, too many working class Joes and Janes have too many things on their plate to think about, rather than thinking about watching some millionaire or some billionaire vying for a gold statue in a popularity contest. No, for people these days, their time is too precious to waste watching the Oscars, and that's why they don't watch the Oscars anymore, because they don't see anything of value related to them in the Oscars. They see nothing of value in watching an Oscar race. They see nothing of value to rally behind anyone as related to the Oscars, but you can't tell the people at the Academy of Motion Pictures and Arts and Sciences this, and you can't tell the people in Hollywood this, that they are producing products that don't get people into them. And it doesn't matter if you add a participation trophy Oscar to the categories for nominations, your Oscar ratings are going to drop in the same way that the Emmys ratings drop and the daytime Emmy ratings have dropped, because people just don't have time for popularity contests anymore, because too many people out here are too busy working to spend time watching rich people get up on a stage and sit there and make speeches about people like Donald Trump, when many of these same celebrities should be out here trying to help many of the same people who watch many of their shows, because those are the people who pay their paycheck by watching that show, and those are the people who go out of their way to take time out of their lives to be entertained by their programming. But these people in Hollywood, they don't understand how they have alienated their customers, and their customers aren't interested in their products because they don't make products that relate to the average working man and woman every day. When it comes down to TV, there's a reason why people don't watch TV anymore. There's a reason why people don't go to the movies anymore. And those reasons are that people don't see themselves on those screens, in those TV shows and movies. No, they only see these distorted images from these Hollywood moguls who want to give us remakes, reboots, and rehashes, but don't want to go out on the street and see what the average working man and working woman have to deal with every day. And because we don't see the lives of the average working man and woman every day in a movie or a TV show anymore. That's why more and more people are tuning into things like YouTube and watching YouTube videos, or going to places like Netflix, which allow them the ability to watch content when they want to watch it. Because when they look at things like the Oscars, they don't see their stories and experiences getting any sort of rewards or any sort of recognition. No, all they see are rich people patting themselves on the back. And when they see rich people patting themselves on the back, they feel like they're being slapped in the face. And I believe that the ratings for the Oscars are going to fall just as low as the daytime Emmys fell, because people are tired of watching rich people congratulate themselves in popularity contests, and what they want to see from Hollywood is them getting out of this whole obsession with superhero movies and going back to telling stories about people like you and me. If you'd like to see me make more videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon by clicking the link in the description box. And if you want to try some of my SJS Direct publications, like the ISIS series, the E-Steam series, The Temptation of John Haynes, the John Haynes series, and the Spinsterella trilogy, you may do so by clicking the link to Amazon.com in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and Kindle Unlimited, ISIS, Escape from Transylvania. The goddess next door and John Haynes must escape a horde of vampires on the hunt in this horror-filled ISIS series adventure. Get ISIS, Escape from Transylvania in paperback and Kindle Unlimited today.